Welcome to In the Library with Marsha and no Adrian today. Adrian's out sick today, but I do have a very special guest with us today.
Mary Vergowven.
Welcome, Mary. Thank you for joining me today. I was going to have you do a little introduction of yourself, and we just talked before we started recording this, your history and what you've done at the library up until now, and then what you're currently doing at the library. So take it away, Mary.
Okay, well, as I said, my name is Mary Vergowven. I worked for the Monroe County Library System for just under 37 years when I retired in December 2021.
Oh, wow.
And I actually grew up in the library. Marsha wanted me to talk about this.
I was gonna say you were born for this job.
Into this.
But yeah, let's.
My mom was a librarian at the Dundee branch from 1970 to 93. And trust me, not a good thing growing up with your mom as the librarian in a small town, because everybody knew.
No secrets there.
No, I'd get in trouble at school every time I got a detention. My mom would come home very mad at me, and boy, would I catch it when she got home, because one of my classmates would say, "Guess what, Mary?"
She would hear it at work before she got home.
So it got to the point where I would go to the library right after school, and I'd say, "Hey, got a detention today, or got in a fight today, or whatever happened." And then she had time to, simmer down by the time.
Confession at the library. Confession at the library after school.
She couldn't paddle me at the library.
Also, I think it's funny that we're leading with this, because I feel like the moral of the story is stop getting in trouble, Mary. What's happening?
I don't know. But my mom did instill in me a love for books and for reading. For that, I'm eternally grateful. I never planned on being a librarian at all. I would read at school. You know how you would tuck your book into your school book, your textbook, and I would get caught and get in trouble. And sometimes they'd take my book away, and my classmates would say, "You're going to be a librarian just like your mom." And I'd say, "No, I'm not."
Fought it every step of the way. Here you are.
Yep. I ended up subbing for her.
Oh, okay.
She had a sub lined up, and then the sub's husband was diagnosed with cancer. So mom and dad had planned this vacation, and it was last minute. So I kind of knew my way around the library. She explained a few things, and I subbed for her, and I just fell in love with the job.
I love it.
And then I subbed at a lot of other branches. I subbed in the interloan department when we had that. Well, we still kind of do, but it was a lot different then. Loved that. And then was hired as a page at the Dorsch Library, 12-hour position. And then I also took a part-time audio-visual job, temporary part-time in the audio-visual department. It was just when we had started loaning VHS tapes.
Okay.
And
VHS, which we no longer have.
So that dates me.
I know, but I like it.
I
like it. Okay.
But then Dorsch hired me as a full-time clerk in 1985.
Okay.
So I worked there. And then when my kids grew up, went back to school, I earned my Library of Information, library science degree, and they hired me out here as a reference librarian, and I was very happy, going to retire from here. And then this job came up at Bedford Library, and it was a lateral move, reference librarian, but I was going to be in charge of the local history room. That just pulled at my passion
the rest
for
is
local history.
I
love that job. Yep, I retired in December of 2021, and then a position came up part-time and for a digital librarian, and it was actually working on Biblioboard, which is a project that I worked on before I retired with Regina Manning. And so I applied for it and was hired for it. So here I am.
Yes, still working, retired, but
couldn't go away.
We have a lot of that going on around here. People retire and then they come back. But it is, I think you're right. I think like the love of the library, the love of helping people, the love of just really, I was talking to one of our new subs the other day, who's a retired teacher coming back to sub, Kate Lambricks from Bedford. And Kate, so she was going through the sub pool, and when she was talking, she said, "I'm not here for the income, I'm here for the outcome." And I love that. I'm going to start using that from now on. And I feel like it's so funny. We laughed, Doris and I had this conversation the other day. Nobody ever really leaves, right? We just, so it is funny but it's good. It's great because like, the history, everything. So it's it's very valuable to have you still at the library with all of your knowledge and all of your history.
There's a brown.
Yeah. So I think it's really great. So not only do you know, kind of all the players here and all the history of Dundee, of Monroe County. So I feel at Bedford, you really got to know everything about Bedford while you were there.
And the history at Bedford was amazing. And just after I started working there, Trudy Urbani started donating pieces of her 40-year collection. She had been collecting local history from Bedford Township for 40 years. She had 150 or more boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Of bankers' boxes of stuff. And I would come in after a weekend and there'd be like 5 or 6 boxes. And I'm like, what is this? So then it got to a point where I asked my supervisor, Jody, at Bedford, if I could just meet with Trudy at her house and inventory the stuff right there.
And bring a couple boxes at a time.
And I bring 4 or 5 back with me. But we had the best time.
Yeah.
That was just such a special time and really added to the local history room.
Oh,
Bedford,
yeah, for sure.
It's just amazing the kinds of things that she had.
Yeah, that collection was amazing that she donated to the library.
Yes.
I'm sad Adrian's not here today. I was going to play a Who Knows the Bedford Library History Room better, but we'll just say Mary wins. But
I know Trudy's collection better, but I don't, the last couple of years, who knows what came in.
Well, I know, but that is great. But it is funny, and you did such a great job of getting that all organized and, like you said, cataloged, and just, it's such a great resource. So if you haven't been to the Bedford Local History Room, if you're from that area, for sure, go over there. But even if you're not, there's wonderful things in there. You can also look online. We have virtual tours a little bit too. There's some different things you can look on too. And we'll probably get into a little more of that. Was there more you wanted to share until we talk about what you're currently working on?
No, not so much.
Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't want to jump ahead, but so tell me now, what does being part of the digital collection mean then? What exactly do you do now?
Okay. So I'm a digital librarian, still a reference librarian, but the digital collections, and Regina's now my boss.
I love that. It's come full
First
circle.
She was my colleague.
Yeah,
She's my boss, but she's a wonderful boss. And I'm not saying that just because I have to.
Yeah.
There's no, nobody.
No incentive for us to say that, but yeah, I concur. She's wonderful.
No,
so yes.
But so just before the pandemic, we had started a digital platform called Biblioboard, and it houses special collections from all of the branches. And my goal is to get every branch up. Every single branch in the county has treasures at their library, and they differ. You wouldn't believe. Some of them have pictures, some of them documents, videos. It's amazing, the different things that each branch has. So my goal is to bring each branch up, and I'd like to do that in the next year. I'd like to have everybody up. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but
yeah, I love that. It's a big goal, and it's a lot of work, but it is a little, I know we've talked about a few of the things you're working on, and it's a little bit like you're a little bit part detective, investigator. Yeah. And then it's so fun finding, like you just said, the treasures. Like, it's so great to see something you've uncovered, and maybe something that's been in a box, or something that people forgot they had, or perhaps under a former administration. I think that's the case a lot of times here, where maybe a certain library branch had something from a prior librarian, and you're uncovering these things and putting them, really, more importantly, for the public to view too, for everyone to share.
Yes. And I will say, we had a call in Bedford at one point. We had a call from France.
Okay.
And this was, I think, after I put a lot of stuff just on their local history website before Biblioboard came in. We had a call from a guy who was in France doing some research on people from the United States that died in the war and were buried over there. So, and he discovered something on our website and called to find out about it. So, and
that's awesome.
Calls from all over the country, California, Canada, just from discovering things on our website. So it's not just the Monroe County people that are looking at it. People are hitting it from all over the place. I walked, when you said, you don't know what you're going to discover, I walked into the Maybe branch, because that's my home branch, and I'm returning a book, and I mentioned to Tiffany that, I really want to get in here and bring you up. I think you're going to be the next one. I asked about the librarians, and she said, oh, we have pictures of all the librarians. And she took me around the corner right when you walk in. I've never looked up before.
And it's your home branch.
Every single librarian that's been a librarian there. So I went in and I did scan those, and those are going to be coming up pretty soon.
And that's funny. How many times have you been in there and never even knew?
Never even looked at the pictures.
It's funny. I say that even on a grander scale. I feel like we work here and we barely know all the programs we have going on, or everything on Biblioboard. I mean, I work here and I barely know what's going on here at the Ellis Library and Reference Center, let alone all 16 branches. So that's why it's so important to go to mymcls.com, where you can look up things like our events calendar. You can look up Biblioboard on there. Is it under the research tab or under local history? I kind of forget now. I should probably have looked that up.
No, as you go onto our homepage, there's a tab that says Digital Library.
Okay.
And if you're out there, you're looking at our website, hover over that Digital Library tab, and a whole menu opens up. On the right side, I make sure I get my
I know.
left and right.
The kid pull it
correct.
up.
On my right side, the very top menu selection is digital libraries.
Okay.
So you'll click on that. It's going to take a second or two. It'll open up Biblioboard, and you'll have two options. You'll have the MCLS collections, and then right below that, there will be community pages.
Okay.
So it's broken up into two things. The MCLS collections are all of the branch library collections, everything that's at a branch library. There's a ton of stuff on there already. And then if you open up the community pages, you're going to find the Old Mill Museum. They've thrown some collections up there. The Erie area historians have a collection there. The battlefield is on there. There's a COVID-19 patron submission. So if you have anything that you remember
even
from
still
COVID,
now,
yeah,
right?
pictures
Yes.
or something, put them in as a submission. We'll take them. We're going to focus today, though, on the branches in the Monroe County Library System collection. And I just wanted to highlight a couple. There's a short video right on that page to the right side.
You and Regina, I believe, yes.
And I, yes, that we did a couple years ago, telling you how to use it. And
Perfect, like a tutorial. You can
Yes.
click on the video, it'll show, you know,
Yes.
kind of how you navigate it, but it's
Yes.
nice to go over it here as well.
And Biblioboard is set up so much nicer than our previous platform was, because it reminds you of, it has tiles.
Oh, yeah.
So it reminds you of Pinterest.
Yes, Pinterest. That's what I was just going to say, or a board, Post-it notes, whatever,
Yep.
but it does. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. It has a Pinterest feel.
Yeah.
Because you can look in each one.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
you'll open it up, you'll click explore, it'll open up, and you can click on whatever branch you want. And then within that is called an anthology. So there's like a Dorsch Library anthology. If you click on that, it'll open it up and you'll see all of the collections that we've been able to digitize from that library. Well, and as long as we're talking about Dorsch,
Yeah.
there's an Aunt Bet collection there.
Yep.
Aunt Bet is so beloved. And then there's a
Brown
within
bear?
that, there's the little brown
Little
bear.
brown bear. Yeah, I was going to say
travels.
that should be in there too. Okay.
And Little Brown Bear has traveled all over. And if you're out there listening to this and you took Little Brown Bear on vacation with you and you have pictures, please contact the library.
Yeah.
Because we've only been able to find, and they're supposed to be maybe at Dorsch, but we've been in the basement at Dorsch and looked, and we can only, Donna Satilli had given me England and Thailand,
wow.
Bangkok.
Mhm.
And then there were some pictures from where Brown Bear traveled around Monroe. So those
Okay.
collections are on there. There's also a Dr. Dorsch collection. It's very interesting. Ginkgo tree. There's some history of the library. Summerfield, Petersburg has some great collections. And that was really one of the first ones I did outside of Bedford. Of course, the Bedford local history collection, huge.
Right. Sure.
Lots of stuff. And
Well, the local history room there alone is
Yes.
huge. And
all the pictures, there were like 70 folders in the picture collection, and those went up during COVID. That's
Sure.
what I did
Yeah.
while we were off.
I know, but that was wonderful. It
during
was that you
COVID.
start where you live. You were already, you already
Mhm.
were there and had access to
Yeah.
it. And it was kind of, I feel like that was good. I don't want to say practice, but it was kind of a good starting point.
Yeah.
Because even though it's very vast, you had like a sampling for everything and kind of knew
Yes.
how to set the tone for the rest of them. So I think that kind of worked out really nicely.
Yeah, and when we started Biblioboard and we knew we were going to put those picture collections on,
Mhm.
I was like, I'll never get through these before I retire.
Yeah.
And then boom, pandemic.
so
So
it's funny how
but-
that works too.
yeah.
And I was also going to say, when you talked about Petersburg's, I was going to interject this here, but we can save it for later, was the class composites, just because that's something
Yes.
we've recently, I know about this too. So
And tell them how this came about, Marsha.
well, yeah, I'm always sort of meddling in everything. But one of the things it was your idea, obviously, wasn't it? Now I forget which one of us did. Yeah. Well,
And was it the superintendent's?
Yeah. So I had asked if I didn't picture it being on Biblioboard and you going to the Great Lakes that you went to, but I thought, how great would it be to just copy those class composites from every graduating class? Because they're hanging on the walls at most schools, but not quite. So Summerfield had them all kind of together.
Yeah.
And we asked the superintendent and Chuck Bruckner, the legendary,
Yes.
historian of Petersburg, and we all kind of collaborated, and you were so great. So I would run and grab them after you got some permission, and then you would scan them. I always think it's funny the great lengths you went to
my
get rid of the
goodness.
glare. And
With
so
the black umbrella.
yes,
and-
because some we could get out of the glass, some we couldn't, and
Yeah.
so I just felt like that was such a big undertaking, but what a great thing. And then again,
Yes.
to be able to, and those, the signs are still on there that says you can access these online. So now
Oh,
when
and
you
I
go to the
have flyers
school,
for that, too.
yes,
Okay.
and now when you go to the school, you can see the composites hanging in the walls, but in addition, you can look at them from home or
Yes.
from Yeah, and not just from Monroe County. So if you graduated from Summerfield High School and now you live in California, you can go on our website and you can look up some of your classmates.
Yes, yes. And that came about because we went to Petersburg just to look at those. Get some spellings for some questions
that's what it was. I was like, what was the origin?
Questions.
It was you. You asked the spelling of the names, and I'd asked a couple people in my family. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to check those class composites. And yes, it spitballed from there because I thought, why did that come up? That was what it was. You were verifying spelling on for some teachers and classmates.
We thought we could look and see, okay, in the 1920s, but that collection was awesome. I loved doing that. It took a long time to type out the names, but it's searchable. So if you are searching for someone, you're not sure what class they're in, you just type in their name and hopefully I spelled it right.
Yeah.
I did a lot of proofing on that.
But that's what's so great about Biblioboard, because we do have here at the Ellis Library and Reference Center, we have most, I don't want to say all, like yearbooks in Monroe County. So you can primarily come and locate a yearbook, which has been great. And that's really popular here. But the great thing about Biblioboard is you can from anywhere, you can from home, from out of state. You don't have to make an appointment or make copies here at the library. You can just
home in your pajamas.
Yes, I know. I think that's the biggest important thing. And again, if one good thing came from COVID or taught us from COVID, that you can access so much of your library from home. And this Biblioboard is the perfect example of that.
Well, and talking about the Petersburg composites, then that led into the Dundee. Dundee is my hometown. So I was putting Dundee up onto Biblioboard, their library. And Jennifer said, most of the history of Dundee is at the old mill. Yeah. Which is true.
Which, of course, you wear many hats. You have a hat that you wear from the old mill as well.
The old mill. I'm working on the bicentennial book. But so when I went to Dundee Library, they did have a great history there of the library, which kind of feeds into the whole history of MCLS because the first library was in Dundee.
Yeah,
there.
So it's very important in our history. And we have a big birthday coming up this year too with the library. I know. And I was thinking that when you were talking about your mother, I remember when we had the Dundee Library birthday party and your mom came and we had cake. Oh. And I was just thinking of that, and I was trying to remember what year that was. And so I was just thinking about all of that too.
Oh yeah, that was the opening of the library.
Yes. And she came in, and there was so, and she used to come, or she would come to the book clubs still, later on. So I loved that I knew your mom too. I almost said that earlier. And so but so we have all these birthdays and celebrations and tie-ins. And again, like you said, it's all sort of interconnected. Like even, we find that up here too, something that maybe the Battlefield has or the museum here in Monroe has, we also have, or we can get from them, a lot of reciprocity happening in Monroe County. And I think you're right, like all the ties, like something you found in the library also ties into the old mill or another event across the county. So it's really, just the collection is so vast, and this is making it, like a smaller world where you can really access everything in one place. Well,
and Carleton had, like when I digitized at Carleton, and that's going to continue because they're celebrating their 30th birthday of their new building.
Wow. See, that's so funny, these timelines.
But there's a good collection there. There's actually a video of the construction, because who wants to look at a bunch of construction pictures, but it's a video. It kind of
or time lapse, right.
They had some local history pictures, some great big pictures. And some of the bankers that were there, because that was their first bank. So that was interesting. You just never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, exactly. Like treasures. Again, it's so funny. And then and I think too, the composites is a perfect example, or these, I think for you, that's where the ideas are born, right? You didn't plan on doing the class composites anywhere, let alone multiple places.
And I would love to do that at every branch.
So if you're
superintendent.
Exactly. It's such a great partnership because everyone has been so happy with permission and getting it out there. But I do think, again, you're a big driving force behind that. But again, I always say we steal ideas all the time, but that's where these inspirations come from, right? You're looking for one thing and then you have this idea, or it kind of leads you down another path.
It morphs.
It's like a choose your own adventure book, where if you, I do feel like a lot of these great ideas and, have come from that, where they've come from, you starting one project that has, shifted gears and went a different way.
Well, and I just made a comment to Bonnie Jennings at a reunion at the old mill for alumni reunion. And I said something, do you have any contacts at Dundee? Because I'd really like to get a hold of their composite photos. And she contacted, I think maybe August Ost, the principal there, and then he took it to the superintendent, and then I get an email from the superintendent. So, and I just did finish scanning all of those.
Bonnie Jennings has contacts everywhere. She knows how to get. She's connected. She's connected. I have like amazing mad love for Bonnie Jennings. When she again, retired librarian from the school that came
Yes.
to work part-time at the,
Worked
I mean,
part-time in
and
the
again, what
library.
a gem, because she knew all of the
Yes.
teachers and all of the students and all the families, and she always can make these connections.
She wasn't sure she could make a connection. She's like, I don't know that I have any connections
Don't
there
let her
anymore.
fool you. She's a wizard. She's a wizard. But I even just when she was in library school and doing her practicum, she had come to, you know, the Petersburg Library when I was working there.
Okay.
So I feel like my history with Bonnie is wonderful, and she's a great she's a great connection anywhere, specifically for the library, because she's working there now, but again through the school. I do feel like as we get farther away, we, you know, our connections get thinner, but she's a gem.
Yep. Well, they were very happy to,
Yeah.
you know, and she pulled them in, and yeah. So thank you, Bonnie.
Yeah, I know. I love
finished scanning all those.
I know, she's so wonderful. So yeah, I mean, and then is there anything else you want to share? I know we talked a little bit about how to access it and get through it. I guess maybe what's one of the most maybe obscure things on Biblioboard, or what?
Oh,
I mean, I guess I didn't have you prepared for any of these. I was just trying to think of something. Give us some other examples besides what you're thinking would be on there, or something you haven't already named that they might find.
Bookmobile.
Oh yeah, the history of the bookmobile's
History of the
on there.
bookmobile's on there. That's not really obscure.
No.
That was actually, that's been on there.
Okay.
Because Jeff Anderson, who started, you know, he was right there at the bottom step as well. He put it on his Monroe County Library System as a test. He posted all the old bookmobiles, and I changed all of that now to just be the bookmobile.
That's funny.
So
So his was the test launch to see how
yeah.
things looked, and then you're like,
Oh my gosh,
that's funny.
what
I just wondered like some other examples of
There's-
something that you could find on there besides
Yeah.
class composites and picture files and history of local communities, you know.
Yep, Luna Pier.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of obscure in a way. There was a scrapbook at Luna Pier that a woman there kept, and it kind of chronicled the floods in that
Oh,
area.
yeah, that would be
So
something
that's kind of-
interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
it's definitely just, it wouldn't interest everybody.
No, but if you're from that area, or,
Mhm.
you know, even if you're not, like, again, for me, that's something I would maybe
Yeah.
not know, but that's a great place to find it, you know, something that you maybe couldn't necessarily find online or in a book, but there are photos and, you know, records here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, in Luna Pier, of course, it's under the Racy.
yes.
Library is what it's called. They have in their library, and those are composite photos too, of the Mason Elementary School. which I've
Okay.
never heard of that before. I didn't know,
Yeah.
but of course there was probably
Right.
a school right in Luna Pier.
Yeah.
So those
Mason, like Erie Mason, but
Erie
over.
Mason, yeah,
So,
but then they
Oh.
consolidated, and you know,
Okay.
the elementary went over to the big Mason school. But yeah, that's there. Those pictures are all
That's
digitized
funny.
and on.
yeah,
and
see, I wouldn't have maybe
named.
known that either. Okay.
Mhm.
That's great stuff. Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
all kinds of different interesting
Well,
things you can find on there.
one thing that's going to be posted, and I haven't had time because I got into a whole bunch of other things. but
Another project. Right?
I have them all scanned. Augusta Ewell, who was married to Dr. Dortch,
Okay.
her
yeah.
brother had a photo album, and those were mostly pictures of old time people in Monroe.
Oh,
Like old time. You're going back into
Yeah.
the 1860s.
Yeah.
So
wow.
that's going to be something that comes up pretty
The who's
pretty
who of
soon.
Monroe, the who's who of historical
exactly.
Monroe. I love that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so funny.
Some photos are identified, some aren't. I'd say most of them are.
Yeah, but even if they
Yeah.
weren't, maybe somebody else, like by getting it out
Oh,
here,
yeah.
you know, that's another great resource here too, is when you put something like that out there, if you are searching for identification, you know, maybe
Mhm.
somebody sees it and their grandma had that picture or whatever,
Oh,
you know,
sure.
and they might be able to help with identifying and adding, even just adding to the collection in general. That's the
Mhm.
next thing I was going to ask. Can patrons submit things to you to be added to this collection? I know
Sure.
you're mostly going to libraries now, but if a patron had something, you know, like a photo or something that they wanted to submit, you know,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
they could contact the reference department
Mhm.
here at Ellis.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of things from Ida that were my mom and dad's because they were 1943 and 44 graduates of Ida. So I have those composite photos. I have a whole bunch of photos of people, their classmates, photo albums of old time Ida. So
That's
I'm
fun.
not
That's
sure
fun.
how to consolidate that. They don't have a museum there.
Right,
The library
right.
really doesn't have a local history
So that might
room,
only
but
live on Biblioboard, for example.
maybe so.
But which
And-
is another great thing.
yeah, but you know, those need to be donated. All that stuff needs
Sure.
to be donated somewhere. But
Mhm.
that stuff is eventually, I think, going to be kind of worked in when I pull Ida up.
Yeah.
I'm going to try. Sorry, Suzanne, I haven't talked to you about that. But
Watch for it.
Yeah. Well, I know Suzanne had a lot of things there about Ida schools.
Mhm.
But then they made that local history room a makerspace. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure what
Right,
happened
which
to all
books
the
are still
other
there and where they're
stuff.
at, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's still some. I
Where-
know I had a question up here about Christmas and Ida, and she was able to locate me some of the
Mhm.
things that are still there. So I think it's somewhere it's maybe just shifted a little bit,
Well,
but
downstairs, we we have
Mhm.
videos of Christmas in Ida
Yeah.
on VHS.
Yep. I know.
So I don't know
So,
if those will
yeah.
ever make it there, but
So yeah, no, I love that. Anything else? What else would you like to share about it? I know we planned on doing some jokes with Adrian, but I do want you to share a couple of your jokes
Well,
today too before we sign off.
before I do,
Sure.
MCLS's 90th birthday
Mhm.
is going
Yeah.
to be in 2024. And there will be a patron submitted memories of the library.
Oh,
I'm gonna
nice.
put some stuff in there, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it separately or as the same thing of old time pictures of librarians and libraries.
I love
We're gonna set up an anthology or collection that patrons can actually submit to. So, whether it's something, one of the things at Dorsch, we had Kathleen Yost, a little patron. We had a little girl. I don't know how old she would be now, but she had submitted in a memories scrapbook that's on Biblioboard, something she wrote in school when she was 11.
Oh.
So like if you wrote something about the
Yes.
library, your favorite librarian when you were a kid and you still have that.
program you
Oh my
attended,
goodness. Yes,
right,
a
yes.
program.
Well, and that's what
Yeah.
I was just thinking too, even when you were talking about, the photos and memories from your parents or from you when you played or, that's what's so great about this is, it's personal because like, a lot of this, all the people and you make the connections, but it's also personal for patrons too, because they have those memories, and it just kind of gives everyone kind of co-ownership of things, and just to make it personal and to make it more, just for everyone.
Yeah.
It's something for everyone.
And
So I
even if
love
there's
it.
something that they wanted to write, like, I used to go into the Ida library and
A shared memory, a shared
so-and-so,
story.
Yeah, just a
Like an
story.
oral or a written
Exactly.
history. It doesn't necessarily have to be a photo. It can
Nope.
just be their own
Or a
account.
document. It can just be
Yeah.
their own account
I
of what
love
they
that.
remember about the such and such library.
I
Okay.
love that. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if there's anything else. I mean, I might forget.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll
I
think of
think-
lots of things when we're done, but for right now, I want to make sure we kind of covered
I think
sort
I
of
covered most
everything.
of it. Yeah.
But yeah, we came prepared for, Adrian.
I'm so disappointed, Adrian, that you're not here because, you're famous. Like when the old mill volunteers were on, you asked us about if there were crocodiles in
Dundee.
None of us really thought
Answered.
about crocodile. And on the way home, I'm thinking,
Hey, mate.
crocodile Dundee, of course.
That's really
So
fun. Yeah.
I had some jokes. I had some jokes.
We can
for
share. Let's
Adrian.
share them. Let's hear them. We'll do a couple of them.
At the Bedford Library, Adrian, where do you keep the books about Bigfoot?
Now, Adrian, we did ask him, and he
Yes,
did
we did.
answer with the call number, the Dewey
Yes,
Decimal
he
call
did.
number, because he's a great librarian, and he said like 00.1.
Knew it off the top of
Yeah,
his
he
head.
sure did. He knows right where they're located in that branch. And the answer, Mary, was
The real answer is in the large print section.
get it large
R,
print.
R.
I loved it.
At the Bedford Library, where are the books about conspiracies?
And again, with the Dewey number for that would be, which I'm not even sure that I know it right now. I don't have it memorized.
The real answer, well, that'd probably be like true crime. or
Sure.
something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
364.
Yeah. So the true answer is right behind you. R.
Yeah. The conspiracy books are right behind you, all around you.
All around you. What do librarians at Bedford tell patrons that want to check out more than 50 books at a time?
I don't know if I know that. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I would say load up your cart. I don't know. What do they say?
Don't overdo it.
That's cute. Overdo. Yeah, we didn't even do that one. That's a funny one. Don't overdo it. I love it.
Overdo it.
Those are great.
No, but really, and if you want to have a pun, we really want you to check out Biblioboard.
I love puns. They're so funny. Yeah, so check it out. You go to mymcls.com.
Yeah.
And you can just and I'm always kind of plugging that on here. MCLS obviously standing for Monroe County Library System.
Mhm.
I always remember it's library lingo. We say MCLS, but that doesn't, if people don't know. So my Monroe County Library System, mymcls.com. You can get on there and, check out Biblioboard. You can check for events. You can also the library has a Facebook page that'll tell you about closures. We have some closures coming up with the holidays and different events and programs. But yeah, anything else? What are you reading right now? Do we talk about that? Is there anything you want to share that you're reading?
Not really reading.
You're just digitizing.
I'm so busy. I read the Bible every day.
Yay, that's perfect. But yeah.
I have the Glass Ocean.
Okay.
I have that downloaded, but that's the second time I downloaded it. I'm still in chapter
I
2
do
or
that
3,
too.
and
I do that too.
No time.
I know. Well, I just thought I'd
That's a
include
good
it
thing.
too. What's one of your favorite things about working for the library system? You've had a lot of years and you've worn a lot of hats around here. What's one of your favorite things?
Just you learn something every day. And the staff is wonderful. I mean, it's just a wonderful place. It's a good place to be, whether you want to read or just hang out, do your homework. You can meet with a group. There's just no limit. You can do a puzzle.
I know,
We've
puzzle.
got puzzles
Yeah,
in here. Puzzle in a day.
Puzzle in a- yeah. I always say that
put a couple
too.
Pieces in.
I always say that too. We have something for everyone every day
Yes.
at least some branch. If
Yes.
you're willing to, if you're,
Story time.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
16 branches, if you're willing to, do a little like searching and do a little driving, like you could, get free programs everywhere, every day. And so many people say, I can't believe you do that at the library. I didn't know you had blues concerts, or I didn't know you have, D&D groups or quiz programs. So we always have so much going on. So I just think, get on there, get on the website, look it up, or call us, just call us too. So, well, anyway, thank you again for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed it. Again, I knew some of this stuff, but I'm always learning something new too. And we just appreciate you and all that you do here for the library.
Well, thank you so much. I love it.
Well, thank you.